Thank you for tuning into this latest Emerging Threats Group video. We appreciate your time, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we will see how well a Republic of China Air Force F-15EX, with the help of some F-16 Victor or Viper model fighters, do against the People's Liberation Army Air Force and People's Liberation Army Navy aircraft, which are attempting to cause some havoc over the Taiwan Strait, shall we say. In video number 1, we used mostly, if not contemporary, Taiwanese Air Force and certainly near future. In this, we're going a little bit more hypothetical. We've replaced all the Mirage 2000s with F-15 Charlie X-Ray and Echo X-Ray Eagle IIs. These are all the variants that can carry up to like 20 AMRAAMs each, and yes, we have armed most of the Eagles with that loadout. We don't think it's realistic for Taiwan to get access to the AIM-260, but the AIM-120 Delta is something they have bought. In the last video, our losses were about a 2-to-1 ratio in the People's Republic of China's favour. So I believe, if I remember correctly, Taiwan lost just under 100 aircraft, and the People's Republic of China lost maybe just over 50. That it was close enough to those numbers. So in terms of the aircraft we have going this, once again, we only have 24 indigenous fighters because I believe they're mostly used for air-to-surface or air-to-ground work. We have 52 F-16s, all of those are Viper models. And we have our Hawkeyes ready to provide airborne early warning. We don't need any Orions in this scenario. In terms of our non-standard orbit, this is where things get a bit more interesting. We have 46 Eagle IIs, which will be operational in this scenario. Most of them will be operational at the start, but a few of them will come in closer all throughout the scenario. It is only a 90-minute scenario, so it will be over fairly quickly. In terms of the Chinese forces, they are unchanged from the previous video. As you can see, we're going to be up against lots of contemporary Chinese aircraft. We have a few, they definitely have some J-20 Bravos. They have a mixture of the ones with the latest engines and ones with the slightly older engines, maybe class them as contemporary, I'm not entirely sure. I think the WS-15 engines are currently undergoing testing in China. I don't think there's any, certainly don't think they're operational on like combat-ready J-20s yet. I could be wrong, and none of us quite know what the Chinese are doing. Because China does have some long-range SAMs, it is possible some of them may get involved. But from the last video, we know that it'll actually more likely be the Republic of China's SAMs, which are able to get some kills. So we'll quickly just give you an overview of our F-15s. So here we are, we have F-15 Advanced. So this is the Charlie X-Ray, which is the single-seater Eagle. This is pretty much identical to the Eagle II, the actual one that the US Air Force are building. In fact, but apart from the fact that it's just a single-seater, the US were looking into developing a single-seat X-Ray Eagle, but I believe that has now gone the way of the Dodo, and I don't think that will ever happen. And then we can go down and find the EX, which I believe the US has maybe 2 of at the moment. So obviously expecting Taiwan to get about 50 of these, 50 to 60 of these aircraft in the next few years obviously isn't going to happen, but there you go, this is all part of the fun. To see how Taiwan does. We get our fighters airborne. See, there are our indigenous fighters. And there are our Viper model F-16s. And here are our F-15s. As you can see, they're each carrying 20 AMRAAM Deltas each, with a pair of Sidewinders as well. I believe they also have conformal fuel tanks, at least the EX models. The Charlie X-Ray models, I'm not entirely sure. Got some Chinese MiG-19 silicon shields there. They're basically MiG-19 drones, just up to basically distract Taiwan. And it looks like hostilities have started. Looks like the Delta model AMRAAMs are already getting fired against that MiG there. It's probably a bit of a waste of a Delta model AMRAAM, but they all count. We've got some J-20s coming in. Our Skybows are engaging. As you can see, our air defences on Kinnaman Island are taking a bit of a pounding. I'm hoping we should certainly manage to shoot down a few more Chinese fighters this time around. I'd be disappointed if we don't. Especially, again, we have a lot of AMRAAM Deltas. I don't believe the Taiwan... Well, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, I believe Taiwan have maybe bought 400 or so AMRAAM Deltas. And we may have all 400 of those literally equipped to our Eagles at the moment. If not slightly more. So... it certainly wouldn't be realistic to arm this many F-15s with this many missiles, but let's see how it goes. See, we have our Vipers getting airborne. And the F-15s are flying out this base here, the one Mirage, the Mirages are used in the last video. I can't remember if I put any on this side of the island as well. May have done. Yes, there are also Eagles also on the other side of the island as well. I think this is Taiwan's most secure airbase that we know about. It has like pretty much everything built into the mountainsides, so, apart from maybe the runways. So it would make sense to have some F-15s there where they can't quite so easily be attacked by missiles. As you will remember from the other video, this is not a missile, a ballistic missile or cruise missile scenario. This is literally air-to-air with a little bit of suppression of enemy air defences from the Chinese side, just for the air defences at Kinnaman and perhaps on this island up here. I can't remember the name of it. But all in all, it's mostly an air-to-air focused scenario with a few, also some SAMs getting involved. See how AMRAAM Delta's coming here. They are data linked back to these Vipers. So even though they'd have been fired by F-15s, it looks like the F-16s with data link can actually aim them or control them or provide targeting updates in this case. Skybow, they've got a range of 110 nautical miles. It's about to kill whatever that was. I think it was a flanker, but could be wrong. In terms of the losses so far, we have actually lost 7 Eagles already, as well as 4 F-16s. They must have been quite close to the fight. It looks like they have also shot down. I mean, the losses, even if you take out the unmanned aircraft, they're probably pretty even at the moment. Yeah, we've lost a few indigenous fighters, but nothing too crazy. We've shot down 2 stealth aircraft as well as 7 flankers. Fortunately, that missile missed that drone. Come on, Eagles, let's cause some chaos here. Try and shoot at some of the more high-profile targets than these drones. We've got to kill the drones at some point anyway, before they get in guns range. But that's the thing, the MiG-19s only have guns, so it's not as though we have to worry about them shooting down our aircraft with missiles, at least. So the primary weapon the Chinese are using are the PL-15, which is roughly equivalent to an AMRAAM Delta, maybe at a slightly longer range. The few Chinese J-20s in this, I believe, do have PL-21s, mostly for use against this Hawkeye here, or the other Hawkeyes should they launch. In the last video, I don't think they actually used them, so we'll see what happens in this one. Again, the F-15s do have the ability to carry the JATM in this, but again, I just can't see the US actually providing JATMs to Taiwan anytime soon, especially not in the next couple of years. I mean, for one thing, the US is going to want all the JATMs for itself. Wouldn't surprise me if they don't really get exported to many allies for a while, but who knows. See if we can't shoot down a few of these flankers coming in from the north of our F-15s. We have got a lot of AMRAAMs getting spammed against these Chinese fighters. Quite a lot of stealth fighters in here, the J-20s. Let's see if our AMRAAMs can thin the herd of it. Surely that flanker's got to die with 4 missiles on it. So far he's living a charmed life. Wow, literally must have dodged about 5 missiles before he finally was destroyed. At the moment, if we look at the scores, we are losing. We've lost 9 F-15s in total, and probably about another like 12 or so other fighters. 10. Oh no, 14 if you include those. Yeah, we've probably lost about 20 aircraft so far. So we're doing slightly worse than the Chinese if you take the drones out of the occasion. Come on, J20. I want you to get polished off. That flanker's bitten the dust. And hopefully this J10 will as well. No such luck. So the AMRAAM had a final probability of hit of 45% against that J10. Unfortunately, wasn't enough in this case. We have a lot of fighters airborne at the moment. We did also at this point last time around, if I remember correctly, and the Chinese still beat us quite heavily. Probably doesn't help that all our fighters seem to be gathered together somewhat. And we have to manually take control of these F-15s and try and get them around a bit. Hopefully these missiles don't take them out. It does look like they might be on course for them, or maybe these F-16s coming in behind. At least one of the missiles is coming for our F-16s. F-15, sorry, and it fortunately did destroy it. Our Skyvo 2s are getting in the fight from the north. They did quite a good job last time around as well. In fact, we may launch a couple more against these aircraft coming in. Even if they haven't quite got the velocity to catch them, it at least force the Chinese aircraft on the defensive and allow us to maybe get our F-15s around again and ambush them, well, hit them from the side if possible. We have a lot of Chinese J-20s just over their coastline. Skybo SAM site here only has the older missiles now. It's already used up all its newer missiles. Again, we'll try and send these Eagles off around over here. Hopefully it's J, whatever it is, J16 will get destroyed. We are definitely taking losses, but we are certainly inflicting them as well, at least. Hopefully that J16 will perish. No such luck. AMRAAM Deltas didn't quite finish it off. There we are. That flanker wasn't so lucky. And hopefully nor will this one be. Unfortunately, he did manage to dodge those Skyvo missiles. In terms of AMRAAMs, if you look here, we've fired pretty much, well, 100 AMRAAM Deltas, as well as 15 AMRAAM Charlies, 7s. Looks like we haven't fired quite as many SAMs yet. Whereas I think last time we fired about 115, 116 of them. Does seem like every single time a Chinese missile hits our massive blob of fighters here that unfortunately one of our fighters has blown out the sky. And it looks like the Chinese have a lot more aircraft coming down from the north. Again, the Chinese side is pretty much unchanged from the last video. I don't think I made any changes to either their aircraft or skill sets or or weapons release authority, WRA, or anything like that. So all the changes are just on the Taiwanese side. We're not doing very well against this J16. See if we can shoot down this one. He's got 4 missiles launched against him. Surely that'll be enough to finish him off. You can see with the data link going in there from our F-15s, although now it's activated its own radar. Fortunately, that J16 looks like he's shot down 2 of our, probably our Eagles, and it managed to dodge all 4 AMRAAMs. That's rather disappointing. PR-15s in this game are rather deadly. Probably more so than the perhaps even more so than the AMRAAM Delta. I couldn't tell you exactly for certain, but yeah, it's a tough missile. It's outclassed by the JATM and the Meteor, but certainly is at least equivalent to an AMRAAM Delta, it seems like. Let's confirm what the actual ranges of the PL-15 in game. Yeah, so it is slightly longer range than the AMRAAM Delta in this. Has a 90% chance of hit. I think one of the advantages it has, its active radar seeker is an early 2010s one. I've got a feeling the AMRAAM Deltas might not be. Yeah, it looks like they're pretty similar. Yeah, if anything, the AMRAAM's meant to be slightly higher chance of hit, but has a shorter range. Both have two-way data links. Chinese one maybe does a little bit more damage, has a bigger warhead. But yeah, I mean, they're meant to be pretty similar, but it seems like the Chinese ones are doing slightly better. Again, does have a little bit better fuel burn time, apparently, and a little bit better endurance, the PL-15. But yeah, I think it also just comes down to Chinese numbers are once again overwhelming us. Certainly from the north, there's a lot of Chinese fighters, even though we have actually got quite a lot of aircraft still around over here. Let's try if we can't spread our cap out a little bit. We might be able to make it so our fighters go a little bit closer that way. At the moment, it does seem like we're bunching up too much. There we go. Hopefully that'll help us. You see our Skybow 2s are getting launched into the fight some more. There go our AMRAAM Deltas. Again, it's fired from our F15s, but it looks like the F-16s are data linking it at the moment. Plenty of J-16s there for the taking, as well as some J-20s behind it. Come on, Eagles, we're expecting you to do a little bit better here. See if we've got any more fighters we can throw into the fight, but this might be the majority of them. Yeah, we've got a few indigenous fighters we can chuck in, but they won't be able to do much. So we do have a few more aircraft getting ready to launch, but there's not really much more aircraft we can throw into the fighter right this second that are on the deck. Might be time to spam a few AMRAAMs here, just launch them at long range and hope we can at least put the Chinese on the defensive even if we can't kill them. One thing that would be rather amusing to do is put it so each aircraft launches maybe 4 AMRAAMs against the Chinese aircraft, but that really would be a colossal amount of taxpayers' money going up in flames, perhaps literally. Might get a few more kills out of it, but yeah, I suppose if the choice between your aircraft launching all their missiles, or and then dying, or launching not very many of their missiles and then dying, you'd probably want them to launch more of them. At least you've got a bit more of a chance of taking some of the enemy with you. We've got a wave of AMRAAMs and now meeting Chinese steel. They're not getting as many kills as I would like. Again, they're kind of going on not without too much velocity. That aircraft managed to mostly survive 3 missiles. It's taken damage. There we are. 6 missiles launched at it, and 2 of them hit and did kill it, thankfully. Be very disappointing otherwise. This aircraft has fired off 13 AMRAAMs. That's quite impressive. Did lose his wingman in the fight. And the J-20s, looks like they're getting involved with a couple of our Eagles. Definitely don't want these guys to die with missiles left on the rail if we can avoid it. There we go. We managed to take out those 2 Chinese J-20s at least, but at least one of the F-15s has been destroyed. Or has it been? Yes, I believe so. Yes. In terms of losses so far, we have lost quite a few Eagles there. We're calling it at least 30 31 F-15s shot down. If you add that to our F-16s as well, that's like 56 aircraft. I believe that's about 67 aircraft we've lost so far. In terms of Chinese manned aircraft losses, looks like they've lost 19 plus 16. About 35 aircraft. Another 16 on top of that. All in all, losses are probably about even so far, which is probably a little bit better than we were at this point of the test in the last video. I think we will lose this again, but hopefully the kill to loss ratio or kill to death ratio won't be quite as poor. In an ideal world, you'd like the Republic of China to have a positive kill to death ratio. They'd still lose, but at least they'd take more Chinese with them than they lose themselves. From what our videos are showing so far, that's going to be very difficult for them. We have to rely on better tactics and better pilot training rather than either quantity or quality of machine. We can destroy a few of these Chinese flankers that are trying to overwhelm us. AMRAAMs going up there for this Chinese UAV. Those AMRAAMs literally made a 45-degree turn and have gone for this J-16. Yeah, our losses are now mounting. It looks like the Chinese are just throwing long-range missiles at us, and it seems to be working. Unfortunately, we're losing a lot of aircraft. One of our aircraft has been damaged to the point where it can no longer communicate with us. Is there anything else we can chuck into the fight? Probably not. There's a few more aircraft that will be launching imminently. But yeah, the majority... I'm struggling to find any aircraft that actually survived and made it back to base. One indigenous fighter here. And we have, yeah, I think it's the only indigenous fighters that have actually managed to make it back to base to reload and go again. I suppose that's the problem with the F-15s, is because they have so many missiles, the only way they're going to return to base is if they get... Well, in fact, they won't return to base. The only way they're going to be out to fight is if they get shot down. Yeah, if we look at how many AMRAAMs we've launched, over 200 AMRAAMs. Compare that to the last game where we didn't have that many AMRAAM Deltas, and the AMRAAM Charlie 7s just didn't quite have the range. We certainly fired a lot of more missiles this time around, and we've definitely got more kills, I believe, from it. And we'll check at the end, but surely we've got to have killed more fighters than in the last one, just from the the sheer amount of missiles that we were able to launch. Very disappointed if we haven't. This poor indigenous fighter's probably about to get blown out of the sky. Oh, managed to dodge them. Well done. There we are. We've got one F-15 here is limping home. One AMRAAM left. He's actually managed to use up most of his fuel as well, which is quite surprising considering how much the F-15 carries, and it's quite a short range fight. And we know a Chinese fighter knocked out the sky, but there's, fortunately, there's still a lot more to come. Certainly more than we have. Good thing is our final wave, I believe, of fighters has now launched. Well, I don't think those aircraft actually managed to fire off any missiles at all. They must have just been defensive the entire time and burnt all their fuel. Yeah, we're certainly running out of fighters. I do believe this may be our final wave. Yeah, it's only really indigenous fighters we've got left now, and some of them may launch, some of them may not. We've got an older flight of F-16s here. They've only got Bravo model AMRAAM, so they're really going to be outmatched in this case. This F-15 tried to kill these flankers with his final missiles, but wasn't able to. Looks like he's running away. We'll help him out and make him run away faster. Looks like these Eagles are going to try their best to get a few more kills. Come on, F-15s, we're counting on you. I believe one of them may have just been destroyed. That was one of the older F-16s, I believe. This flanker's living a very charmed life. These aircraft have just got airborne. I'm wondering where they just popped up from. It's possible, should something like this happen in real life, that both nations may have their ships out in the Straits of Taiwan. That would probably give the People's Republic of China a bigger advantage, especially if they have Type 55, what are basically cruisers out there. They have some very powerful SAMs on board. But at the same time, Taiwan does have some destroyers with air-to-air, well, surface-to-air missiles, which could also be useful. And again, if Taiwan knows that there's Chinese cruisers out there that may fire at them, you'd like to think they're not going to send their fighters suicidally into their engagement zones. And that may be our last of our F-16s, correction, the rest of our F-15s shot down. We have a few F-16s left, but not loads. So we can't try and use these sky bows against this mighty dragon here. Probably not. It's probably a bit too stealthy. So have a look what we have left in our repertoire. It's just a few indigenous fighters. Oh, we had one F-15 who made it home to reload, but I think he may be the only F-15 out of all of them that have actually managed to do that. Launch some Skybows. Got less than 12 minutes to actually continue on in this fight. Hopefully we can get a few more Chinese fighters before the end. So far those are living very charmed lives. So that Skybow was decoyed by ECM. There we are, at least that J-16 bit the dust, and so did his playmate as well. Speed it up a little bit now. I don't think we have many fighters left to really throw into it. And again, strangely, the Chinese aren't going for my Hawkeye, which is strange. I thought they would have done. They may have done if we'd given them a little bit longer, but we definitely scored higher this time. I think we scored about minus 2,000 that last time. This time we've scored minus 1,000. In terms of our losses, I don't think we have very many surviving aircraft, it must be said, but that's 32 aircraft dead right there. Add another 29 to that. Let's call that about 60 aircraft. Call that 80 aircraft. We're looking at about 114, maybe 100, somewhere between 110 and 115 dead Republic of China aircraft. In terms of China's manned aircraft losses, we are looking at about 20 aircraft there, 28. Call that 40. Call that 60. Call that 70, 80. Call it about 90 Chinese manned aircraft. So it's definitely a closer ratio. So let's reiterate that. It's about 110 to 115 Taiwanese losses and about 90 People's Republic of China losses. So yes, it's certainly not 1-to-1, and Taiwan still lost and still lost more aircraft. But they certainly did close the gap a bit. But as I said earlier, I believe that Taiwan may only have about 400 AMRAAM Deltas, and they fired almost 300 just in this, and that doesn't include the ones that were also lost. As you can see here, the Chinese fired over 300 PL-15s, and I mean, I assume the Chinese do actually have a lot of PL-15s, so unfortunately that's probably not unrealistic. They did also fire 4 PL-21s. I didn't actually see those, so I don't know if they hit anything. And they did also fire a few AA-12 adders as well, which came from the Russian flanker variants, or the Russian flankers that China has. But so as you see here, having F15EXs and CXs would give Taiwan a little bit of a boost, but I mean, it's not probably a big enough boost to justify the extra expenses that comes with the twin-engine F-15 as opposed to a single-engine F-16 and things like that. But we will have to see in the next video how the European aircraft do. Typhoon, Raphael, and most of all Gripen. So we can certainly replace all the F-16s with Gripens, and probably all the Mirages will get replaced with Raphaels, and then we'll just probably throw a few Typhoons in as well, just to see how they do. That will be Meteor against PL-15 as much as anything. But thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you appreciate just how difficult it will be for Taiwan to defend their airspace should the People's Republic of China actually launch a fairly sizable incursion into it. As I say, thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and have a great evening.